If someone want to say a few words for a level check.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G,
If it's someone.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Usually say a few words.
Generally used to quote Shakespeare.
Did I see where Ellen is gonna zoom?
Yes. Is she on? Let's see, on.
We got 5 minutes yet. 4.
What is he? Did you get your second check? Okay. Mute.
All right. How's everybody else doing?
Living the dream, buddy, living the dream.
I'm not getting too much.
Yeah.
Right.
Go to the excuse spot. But you remember what it was? We did news press, but you guys from the years. No, I didn't know. Maybe you should try it the whole stuff. Right.
She's walking in the house.
Oh.
She got 2 minutes. Yeah.
What's that piece she did? Then you took the 2020
Oh, they just wanted to go back to how we sort of do. There's the, there would have been, handicap or on the road with the, so they make it back. But it made sense for the costumes. Sure.
Good idea.
Oh, did you see your text? I didn't see.
No.
No better not, probably. I want to see. We want to go to the big shop, but you also want to the big shop for more. And then I get asked to go to the shop.
How are you? Good, thank you.
Yeah, I a bit of a bug, so I'm getting and then get me around. Okay, well, I think I'm not contagious because I had it for.
So I think she was in something.
No,
Oh. Is it four? Right.
Oh, I did.
Yeah. The dorm that was. Stuck right by. They also go around. His modified. Oh. I had read it, so I'm concerned about your handwriting. I'm gonna have it in the name of. 7 o'clock, I call to order the August 12th meeting of the Woodstock Town Board. A quick announcement, this Saturday, starting at 2 and running from to dusk is Woodstock's Volunteers Day. The Alphabet Award, which is usually given out around 8:15, 8:30, and then fireworks afterwards. It's a great day and it's free to all, so I hope you can make it. I'm gonna run through a couple of quick resolutions and then we will open the floor to presentation by the library. Be resolved to authorize payment of vouchers in the amount of $656,984.88.
Second.
Discuss.
I would like to pull out voucher number 108825 for $91,994 to.
Okay, that bill has actually been paid.
That's fine, but I'd like to pull it out because I'd like to find out the revenue that was spent on the commode project in its entirety.
Okay,
And I
fair enough,
and
pull
I-
it out. All in favor?
So I would like to put this on the table until then, and I would like to have a vote on that.
I'd like to second that.
There's a second
A vote on
to putting it on the table, so it has to come off the table.
I just said it would come off the table.
No.
I-
She seconded it, now we need to vote to put it on the table.
Everybody who wants to pull it out?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
What is
to
that?
pay the bills?
It means that
It's pulled out.
that voucher is on the table and is not in.
All in favor of the vouchers?
Aye.
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 Okay. Whereas the highway superintendent received 3 bids to replace the truck wash system at the Woodstock Highway Garage. And whereas Van Buren Enterprises Inc. is low bidder at $71,364.85. Therefore, be it resolved to authorize the supervisors to sign contract with Van Buren Enterprises. To replace the truck wash system for the sum of $71,364.85.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Accept the revised May 12th, 2014 Woodstock Water District map. Accepted by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation.
Second.
Discussion,
All in favor, okay, discuss.
so I came to view the map
Yes, I saw.
on. Thank you, I came to view the map, and I was under the impression that I was also going to be able to view the current map that the town of Woodstock has for the water district, but. I have not been able to see the
You didn't
current
ask,
map.
you didn't ask for that, Larry's got that.
I'd like to see the current map before we vote on this, so that I can look at the difference between.
Well, I'm
The
gonna.
2014 map.
I'll.
So I'd like to move and put this on the table.
The difference.
I'd like to second that, table it.
All right, so
In
we need
favor of
to.
tabling.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye to table.
And I was in there.
And I'm an A. Whereas the Woodstock Town Board Resolution 119-2025 authorized the transfer of up to $150,000 from the Highway Repair Reserve Type Fund pursuant to permissive referendum, whereas the time to file and execute such permissive referendum has expired. Therefore, now be it resolved to transfer $150,000 from the Highway Repair Reserve Fund type to the McDaniel Road Capital number H02401.105.
Second.
All in favor?
Discuss.
Discuss.
I was hoping that we could see how much the McDaniel Road repair was gonna cost. I met with Supervisor Donald Allen and Superintendent Donald Allen, and wishful thinking on my part.
Yeah, I guess so.
And
Actually, I probably would have been happier being superintendent. Go on, Ben, sorry.
And what I'm interested in is seeing holistically what the actual cost of the entire project may or may not be. And I understand that he's here, maybe he can discuss for us exactly what the intentions are and what he sees.
Highway Superintendent Allen, would you mind discussing this?
Oh, yeah, I mean, right now, we're in the engineering phase. For folks who don't know, back in the spring, someone walking down the road, the McDaniel found a huge washout that's going down toward Old Key Hollow. And it's endangering our road and it's endangering the power line for Central Hudson. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen something like that. It's a big washout. So I brought in Bernier and Larios. And they came in and did some surveying, took a look at it. And they said, well, we're not the special here. So they brought in Gifford Engineering that specializes in this. And they came in, and I know you got a copy of the engineering report, which I will say, you read it, you only understand about an eighth of it, but. You know, he comes up with, I think on page, if I remember it, page 6, 7, and 8 of that report. He has some ideas, but I can tell you from my experience that it's gonna be expensive. My conversations with Bernier and Larios, you know, because at this point, nobody knows what it's gonna cost, because we're still studying it. He threw off his hip 300,000 maybe.
Fair to say that nobody, at this point, the engineers don't even fully understand the solution.
No, in fact, the engineering report, we did have a contract with Gifford Engineering. Who has been doing the study, they specialize in this. And they did drill some test holes. I know the capital had been set up. I'll be honest, we shot, when I discussed it with Bill, I shot for 150,000, it was a starting point. It did go to permissive referendum, and it's just a starting point to fund it, because we're gonna burn through that quickly, I believe. But that's where we are in it. I mean, I have been hoping that the engineers would move a little faster, because I'm nervous that we're gonna end up closing the road come winter. I did reach out to him today to see if we could put some concrete barriers up to protect it. But I am nervous that that weight is gonna be too heavy on the side. So, but I am waiting for the engineers to get back to me on that.
Now, one of the upsides, when they did the drilling, they said that it was the hardest dirt that they had drilled through.
As my dad would say, it's Catskill mountaintop soil. So it was hard, it is rocky, that is to our benefit.
So I would really like to know what I think the town is gonna be in for, what the taxpayers are gonna be in for. In terms of how much this could potentially cost us.
Nobody
I would
knows
be-
that.
I would be more interested in finding out, from 3 different bidders, what they believe that it would cost. We just approved a wash system and there were 3 bidders there. I think that what we really need for this road study is to find out what 3 different bidders think that this will cost.
Well,
If we're going to burn through $150,000, I'd like to know, are we gonna burn through $1.3 million, or if we're gonna burn through $500,000?
well, at this point, until the engineer, I'm leaning on Bernier and Larios, because if you read the engineering report. Gifford came up with 3 or 4 ideas he had. And I can tell you from my experience, they're all gonna be expensive, but Dennis Larios is gonna review it with him. And then they gotta draw up a bid package. No contractor's gonna bid on it till there's a bid package, and you know how that works. There's gotta be a package, has to be drawn up, it's gotta go out to bid. You know, and if we don't move forward, we're just wasting time.
I, go ahead.
How much does it cost to get to the bid package point?
That I can't give you that.
Well, so that would be important, so that we could move that money over for you to get to the bid package point and then select the best
I
bid.
mean, look, I'll tell you, if you wanna move 50,000 there, fine, 150 was to me a starting point. Because you're gonna spend a lot more by the time this project's
I'm
over.
not quite sure what the hesitancy is. We're gonna end up spending money to fix this, or we're gonna close with Daniel.
I mean, my fear is closing McDaniel Road. If you close McDaniel Road, your phones are gonna ring off the hook, my phones are gonna ring.
So
off
at
the
the last town board meeting, there was a statement made that said it could be fixed. It could be 150,000, it could be 600,000, it could be 700,000. So what we're trying to do is not stall things, but very simply say, get us to the bid point, can you get a quote to get to the bid point? So that we could hurry up and.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do right
But
now.
150 is just a number. Like, what is it to get from where we are now to the bid point? And I think you'd get unanimous votes across the table. Can.
Let's say 100,000.
Well, but I'm asking.
You know,
You know what, and I've had a lot more experience dealing with engineers than either you or Dusty, so. With all due respect.
this project is a big project, and I'll be honest, have I ever done a project this big? No, there's new territory to me too. You know, and as I said, the money's in my budget. I think my one.
Let's be clear, it's not in the budget, it's in your capital.
I have a capital reserve for emergencies of $400 and some thousand for a situation like this. I wanna move $150,000 over to where we can spend it and start moving the project along. Renier Larios isn't gonna do work for free.
Yeah.
So will,
And that's not what he's
so
doing
so
now.
will $10,000 suffice?
Yeah, I'd like to ask two questions if I may. So first of all, if you close McDaniel Road, is there another way for people to get where they need to go?
Yes, there'll be 2 dead ends.
There's two ways.
There's two, okay. Well, and my second question is really more of a point, is I think it's unfortunate that there seems to be a lack of trust. I trust Superintendent Don Allen that if we give him the $150,000, he's not gonna spend it. You know, he's not just gonna spend it all just because he's got it. You're following a process, and you're trying to get going. And if we as a board agree that McDaniel Road ought to get fixed. You know, if we're agreeing it shouldn't get fixed, that's a whole nother story, but if we're agreeing it should get fixed. I think the people that know more about it than I do, I trust that this is money to start the process going, so. If we made it to 100,000, maybe people would feel better, I don't know, but it sounds, you know, when the winter comes, the work stops. I don't wanna see you slow down.
Does work stop in the winter?
Excuse me.
Does work stop in the winter, as she said, or not?
It could, and I don't know enough, if you read the report, and I told you these soil specialists, if you have a mild winter. Probably the work will continue, if you have a bad winter, it's not gonna continue.
I would also remind the board that any big expenditures get approved. The contract had to be approved for dollars assignment at the end of the year. Any other high dollar testing will have to be approved by this board prior to spending, so I'm not sure where the concern is. You've done your due diligence, we don't have the answers to exactly how much it's gonna cost.
And that's why I would like to find out more. If we can-
Money has to be spent to find out more.
Well,
And
then
and right
that's,
now, it's coming out of Donald's operating budget.
What's the issue with getting 3 bids? Can't we just get 3 bids?
I met with Superintendent Allen today. And I reviewed all of the documents that he gave me. And I was thrilled to be able to say yes to a washing station, because we have over $1 million in new equipment that the highway department has that needs to be washed, that needs to be properly maintained. And so there are 3 bids here. I'm just asking for the same thing for that.
Yeah, why can't we get 3 bids? I don't understand what the issue is.
I think we're saying we're gonna get 3 bids, but we don't have, what Don Allen said is. He doesn't have the information to ask for the bids yet, he's trying to get enough information
But
to be able to ask.
let me just clarify this though, you want 3 bids on what?
I'll take 3 bids on either the cost of repairing the road, or 3 bids from people who will make a recommendation about what the road would cost to repair. I want 3 bids.
Nobody's going to give you a bid without a bid package.
Okay, then put a bid package together. I move we table this.
That costs
I
money.
second table it.
Okay, all in favor of tabling?
Aye.
If McDaniel Road gets closed this winter, I'm gonna remind everybody that they can tap you 3. Be it resolved to authorize the supervisor to forward a request to the New York State DOT to install no parking signs on 212 in the vicinity of Big D.
Second,
Discuss.
I sent an email around
Yes.
to all the board members asking if they could reach out to people who might have similar road issues and parking issues. That the one person who sent in and asked for no parking signs. I did receive from several people. I also received from a committee chair, and I also received from a committee member at the WEC that this issue is being discussed. And it's also being discussed in Complete Streets. I don't believe that we should Band-Aid, just put parking signs up because one person has a real problem. I agree, they have a real problem. And what I would like to see, Supervisor McKenna, is I would like to see you asking people in the community if they want
Well,
this as
Ben,
well.
I'm gonna task you with that chore to go out, and I appreciate you stepping forward on that. Donna, did you wanna take a minute to discuss?
I
your
do,
plight?
because I'm the person that sent in the letter. It's my property that I'm having it's not safe for me to get out of my driveway. I'm building a home there. The cars are lined to the left and the right. I have to go in the middle of 212 to get out of my driveway. Now, there's gonna be construction people doing the same thing. There's gonna be an accident that's gonna happen. They're trespassing, they're littering, and it's not a nuisance, it's a safety issue. Which the DOT has no problem putting signs on. Why do I have to be lumped in with everybody else? It's a serious issue for me
We're all,
as a taxpayer.
we're all part of a community, and the community has the words common and unity. I would ask that you,
Really?
I would ask that
Wait.
you, I would ask that you and others who have similar problems.
But this
Bring
is not
them
their problem, it is my problem that I'm dealing with right now.
Susan Painter at the WEC, who has asked that you come forward to the WEC and present that as well.
Realize it.
What about the part where the stream can't keep up with all these people in the water? There's too many cars showing us there's
Okay,
too many people in the water.
this is a
This is
different,
way bigger.
a different topic.
Please not.
So,
Also unaware.
all in favor of,
Discuss.
what else do
I
you
would
want to
just go
discuss?
on it, Jesus, Mayor, this is a democracy, people
Yes.
at the table have a voice without.
Let's hear it.
having somebody
Let's hear it.
talk over them
Let's hear it.
permanently. So there are other people in that area who have a problem, Complete Streets was completely unaware of it. So if we can schedule a meeting this week to get something
I
together
will
very
put,
quickly.
I will put you and Ben in charge of that. Donna, reach out to Anula and
We'll
Ben.
get it taken care of them.
And,
For
all-
yourself and other neighbors.
All in favor of forwarding?
I,
Before, Marie?
Yes.
The resolution is written.
No,
No. No?
No.
Maria, okay, so that fails. Be it resolved to appoint George Cross to the
Oh,
Woodstock
no,
Housing
no,
Committee.
wait a minute, we need to meet in executive session to discuss the appointment and interview George Cross. That's-
I've interviewed him, and I've asked you all to
No,
reach
we
out.
we need to meet,
I've asked for executive session as well.
I know George and I'm happy to put him on every.
Second.
I was second.
All in
I-
favor? All-
I'd like to move to go into executive session. So that we can discuss the appointment of George Cross with the housing.
We'll do that
You need
afterwards.
him here.
He's here, he is here.
She seconded it.
That's fine. George, I guess they feel the need to interview you. So we'll table that and we'll invite the library up to
What was the
discuss.
vote on that?
We're just tabling it.
Just tabling?
I'd
I
like to,
withdraw it.
I'd like to move to accept the town board minutes of July 22nd, 2020.
They haven't been, yeah, they haven't now.
They have been circulated to everybody. In fact, they were circulated on the 23rd.
Would you please
There
step
was a
up?
second. Can you call this question?
No, I haven't seen them yet.
You saw them.
I haven't seen.
They're right here.
Thank you.
You received them on July 23rd in your email. Would
Thank
you
you.
like me to show you a copy of the email that you also received?
Barry, you have the floor.
Here you go. Hey, Barry, if you could just wait 1 moment while I finish this. Thank you. This is the email that you.
You're gonna
received.
make every meeting from now until December a service, aren't you?
So it has been moved and seconded.
Excuse me.
Barry,
Whatever said at this meeting, as of now, is not gonna be recorded.
welcome, Barry.
Hey, Bill.
All in favor of that? Come on, Bill. There's something on the table right now.
Excuse me, I have to
This
keep
is a
myself.
democracy.
Dennis, Dennis, I have the floor now.
All in favor, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
There-
Barry, you have the floor, Barry.
Woodstock Town Board Trustees, Supervisor Bill McKenna, members of the public, and Jackie Early, who's walking. My name is Barry Miller. I'm the current Woodstock Library Board President. I've been a trustee since 2001, and I've been through 5 attempts to bring our library into the 21st century. I am here with Ivy Gopler, the library director and board trustees, to update you on the status of our project to renovate 10 Dixon Avenue as the new Woodstock Library, and to inform the town of our intention to go for a $300,000 public improvement bond for the completion of this project during our budget and trustee election on October 9th. As you may know, we purchased the Miller Howard Building at 10 Dixon Avenue after a successful bond resolution of $3.95 million. That money is being used along with capital funds, grants, and money we have raised through fundraising efforts to transform 10 Dixon Avenue into a 21st century library. Altogether, we have raised an additional $1.7 million towards this project and are now seeking just another $300,000 to complete the building. Once completed, the new building will provide the same library and information services we've offered the town for over a century, but in a much more comfortable, healthy, and accessible space with updated technology. We will be able to offer greater variety of programs in our indoor and outdoor spaces with rooms for quiet study and group meetings. Our climate resilient building will also serve the town as a warming and cooling facility with backup generators to serve the town of Woodstock, especially in emergencies. This will be a beautiful building that serves Woodstockers of all ages and the many visitors that come to our community. It will be larger, more accessible, and more pleasing to the senses as a 21st century library should be. I'd like to turn this presentation over to Ivy Gopler, the library director, to give you more information. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you.
Handout, and I will. Give that these around. I don't know if I have enough for everybody, but I'll summarize what's on this sheet. So thank you for having us tonight. We wanted to give an update on where the project is. And the timeline moving forward. So we are nearing the substantial completion of the project, and we expect most of the work to wrap up by the end of August. We are planning to close 5 Library Lane as of August 29th and start our move into the new building. Part of that is because we have sold that building as of over a year ago. And our landlord needs to take possession and move forward with her plans. So we are under some pressure to get into the new space, and we're eager to do that too, because we're excited about our new building. Some of the work that remains to be completed is a new vestibule to be installed at the entrance, and that's for air conditioning, keeping heat in, keeping it cool. We have a new main staircase going in, and then the last piece that will get put in place is our circulation desk, which we expect to be installed at the end of September. So we will plan to spend the month of September moving into the space, finishing up these last pieces, and hoping to open at the very end of September or the beginning of October. But as Barry mentioned, to complete all this work, we are seeking $300,000 to complete the project. These expenses include some things that were unexpected, some things that were expected, but the sprinkler system has been kind of top of this list for a long time, as well as the fire pump that had to be installed to power that sprinkler system. We also dealt with about $260,000 in change orders once they started demolition of the building, and that's because of just the unexpected things you discover once you start ripping up walls, structural supports that had to be put in. We have to bring the heating and cooling systems online. I'll mention that we reused as much as we possibly could in that building, including the HVAC system. But that HVAC system at this point is at least 10 years old. And so we need to bring in new controller equipment to make that whole system function as it's supposed to. And then finally, these are smaller items, but we need exterior signage so people know that we're the library. Some small pieces of site work like enclosing mechanicals that are outdoors and a few furnishings. But I will say Miller Howard, when they left the building, left almost all of their office furniture. So we are repurposing that as much as we possibly can, rather than buying new stuff. I'm very much avoiding that. Barry already went over the previous fundraising up to now, but in addition to what he mentioned, I will say that we reduced the scope of work on this project back when we put it out to bid in August of last year because the budget came in too high. So there was a lot of work we planned to do on the second floor that we pulled out of the project to save money. So we have reduced this project down to the bare essentials so that we can deliver the library to the community as we planned. The impact on taxpayers, from what we've received from Munistat, the bonding agency, a $300,000 public improvement bond would, with a 15-year repayment plan, would result in an average annual tax increase of $7.41. That's a year, per year, for a taxpayer whose home is assessed at $425,000. So if your home is worth more, it'll be a bit more. If it's less, it's going to be less, but that's an average figure. And then finally, I just want to remind people of what we're going to be able to do in this new space, which is about 3 times the size of the old building. And there's pictures here on the front to show you some of these amenities I'm talking about, but we will have a dedicated children's wing with its own activity room, and that has doors that close, so kids can be having a rowdy story time and someone else can be across the library reading the newspaper undisturbed. We'll have reservable study rooms for people in the community if you need to do a job interview, a Zoom call, a tutoring session. We'll have spaces that you can reserve to have a little bit of privacy and quiet in the library. We already have a high-speed fiber optic internet connection thanks to ArchTalk. And because we've applied for E-rate funding from the federal government, we're paying just 20% of that internet bill, even though it's extremely faster internet than what we have at the old building. And Barry touched on this, but the new building is designed to be somewhat more climate resistant than our old building, obviously. So we're solar powered, which doesn't completely pay the electrical bill, but it gives us about a $200 offset every month. And then we also have 2 backup generators. So we really intend to serve as a warming and cooling center for the entire community. During emergencies, we'd like to work with, other town departments so that if people need to stay in the library 24 hours, we can make that available, like in something like an ice storm that knocks out power for people. And then finally, this building will be ADA accessible. So we already have a lift installed to make the second floor completely accessible to everybody, along with off-street parking for safe entrance to the building, because everybody knows Library Lane can be a bit hazardous. We are going to hold a public information session at the community center on September 22nd, so people can come learn more about where we are on the project, ask all the questions they have. And that information is on this handout, but we'll also be sharing it in our newsletter on our website. And that's it for me.
Any questions from the board?
Thank you very much. I actually had a tour today and the space is really fantastic. If anybody hasn't gone there, it's worth going and looking at it. And I was surprised that some of the updates that you have, like water filtration system and the first elevator in Woodstock, things like that.
I was
So
wrong
that's
about
really
that.
important.
It's not the first elevator.
not?
What's-
Okay.
I was corrected, but I think it's maybe the second
There you
one.
go. Alright. But yeah, it's a beautiful building, and will this money get you over the finish line? So is this okay?
Yes, yeah, we have a comprehensive list of all of the contracts, all of, the change orders, and this takes care of it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, and so is there anything that the town board can do to help you at this point in time?
Well, our lawyer is already in touch with Joe Scott from the town, so they are already moving forward on drafting the resolution language, and our board expects to approve that at our upcoming meeting. So really right now,
And then the town needs to approve.
Okay.
it's also just a matter of, letting people know where we're at, yeah.
And this is going to go in October?
Yeah, so that's,
9?
we have our own annual budget vote and trustee election on
Okay.
October 9th, so this vote will be on that ballot as well.
Thank you.
Laura?
Yeah, well, I've also had several tours and it's really wonderful, coming along beautifully, and I'm looking forward to being able to come in with it being officially open. And just as a reminder, that's why Barry and I are here, is because the town board, I think, had asked for a presentation, since we do have involvement in improving some of the verbiage, but I'm certainly, as you know, in full support, and great job, looking forward to the future.
Well, to be clear, it's more than that. The town board is actually the one that's gonna bond. The
Well,
library can't bond, the town board has to bond, and then we pass it on to them. So. Bennett, did you have any questions?
Yeah, I wanted to thank you when I spoke to you the other day for just being candid with me and telling me that this would help us. To get the library up and running in its new location, and I think that we're all looking forward to that. I know when I was a child, I went to a new library in Casper, Wyoming with my mother, and it was spectacular. And I know there was an old library somewhere in Casper, but as a little kid, I just loved that new library. And then when I moved to Los Angeles with my children years later, the same thing. They put a new library up in our neighborhood, and they didn't know anything about an old library, and they loved it as well. And I'm sure that children and other people will love the new library as much, if not more, than the old library. And with the work that you're doing as well, I greatly appreciate that. So thank you. I look forward to it.
Maria Elena, do you have any questions?
No, just to thank her and to say, you know, I look forward to taking a tour soon.
So it sounds, I will work with your attorney and with Joe Scott to prepare the appropriate resolutions to bring this to a bond vote. And sounds like it would be a unanimous vote, so we'll get working on that as quickly as possible.
I'd like to move to go into executive session to discuss George Cross's interview.
I second that.
Yeah. Here, and that should be a quick one. So, I call to order and I open the public hearing on the fence amendments to the zoning law at July 22nd meeting. The town board set August 12th as the public hearing. All persons may now be heard. So anybody want to talk about the fence amendments?
And if I may say, it is on the town website under the TB meeting documents, so the document is there. It has been, we talked about it at the previous meeting, it has been approved by the Woodstock Planning Board, the Ulster County Planning Board asked for a sentence to be added, we did so. So it's approved by the both planning boards, Woodstock and Ulster.
Okay. Any members of the public? Sir?
Should we stand right here?
Come
So
up,
it is
yeah.
about the fence law?
This is about which fence?
No, not about this issue, sorry.
Okay, anyone else?
I just have a quick question.
Sure.
Are people whose fences?
Their grandfather did.
Thanks, that's just.
So this is a lowering of our fence height? Is this what's
No,
going on?
no, what it is adding some restrictions of, the idea is, the way it was written, is anybody could put an 8-foot electric fence anywhere. And it's really saying, hey, let's restrict that because you really need to have a good reason. So it's, and it really came from Jude Salata, who chairs the zoning board of appeals. Had seen this as the current fence law as being a way for people like, you know, have these 8-foot electric fences. And let's just kind of make it, put some logic to when you can and when you can't.
I think one of the biggest drivers was that people were coming up and fencing their entire property, which is a detriment to the wildlife and a detriment to all the neighbors. So we're putting a little bit of a plan down on that.
So people are gonna be grandfathered for a period of time, not, right? So there's a period of time in which people are grandfathered in?
Yes, I forget what the number of years.
And then after
The fence can't be replaced.
Oh, so the people who have them right now can be grandfathered? Do we have to?
Their grandfather did.
So we have to grandfather?
Yeah.
We have to by law?
Yes, you do.
Thank you.
Is that how it's read for?
Well, I'm fine now. At the moment, it reads, any legally pre-existing electric fence that does not conform with this section shall be required to be removed by May 1st, 2030.
Correct.
The town considered 5 years to be a fair period of amortization.
Is that for both height and electric fence?
I thought that was just for the electric, not that.
Yeah, that's a good question. That is under the electric fence enclosure. Correct, that is only for the electric fence enclosure.
Okay, so I'm gonna table the public hearing, we can have further discussion on it, the board can get back to Laura if you have any thoughts, comments. And we'll reopen the public hearing to the floor of the chair.
I'd like to move to go.
Yes, we are going into.
Well, should we be publicly heard before we do that, but we're keeping the whole public here while we go talk to children.
Okay, let's keep
Well,
public
I
hearing.
don't, I didn't, Ben hadn't taken.
No, let's do that, that's a big point. John Ludwig.
Thank you. In addition to all of these issues that have been discussed, you're gonna be doing a budget for 2026. And I know last year there was a budget process that culminated in a public hearing in November. And I came to that public hearing. Could we hear what will be the budget process this year? How do you plan to do that?
Same as we do every year.
Which is, we hear about that? You know, I've been advocating a lot more transparency. I'd like to see the town board discuss it here at the table. Will that be happening?
We've discussed it before at the table, yeah, and we have budget
Can you say
workshop.
when?
No, we set those,
September,
we set those-
October
they're,
meetings?
they're always in October.
October will be,
The town board gets the budget from the supervisor the first week in October. Then we have budget hearings throughout October, which are all open to the public. You can come and listen to all the discussion you want. There will be usually the second meeting in October, we have the 3 public hearings for water, sewer, and on-site, which is open to the public. It happens and those budgets have always been adopted that night. And there's further discussion on the budget, and then there's a public hearing. Usually the Thursday after election day.
okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
I'll wait, I'll leave you with one thing. As you know, I brought up before that. In 2024, at the end of the year, there was a $3.2 million surplus. And that was actually 42% of revenue collected in 2024 ended up surplus. And so I brought this up before. I brought it up last November at the public hearing, that you keep raising taxes every year and all of that increase goes into surplus. If you had cut taxes 50%, you would still have had a surplus. So I want to encourage you to be mindful of that and think about not raising taxes.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Danny.
Okay. Coming to the same issue as last year. How long are we going to be imposed the flags, American flags in the town? I don't see any town having the flags in the whole town imposed it in our faces. You know, if you want the American flag, I think everybody can have it in their own houses. But to have it outside, I think it's really, I don't get it. It's really kind of insulting.
They'll be up until
Why?
Veterans Day.
Who is imposing it? See, during your government, only we have had that. I have been here, you know, like 40 years. So they are the owners of the town?
No.
Did they ask us permission?
No.
They didn't ask me. I didn't get any note that is asking me.
They asked
I mean-
Central Hudson.
Who?
Central Hudson.
So, Central Council is the owner of the town.
No, they're the owner of the polls.
They are the owners of the polls, but they can, you know, they cannot impose it on us,
Okay.
you know? I think it's, you know, you have to have a say here, or you are nothing.
I've mentioned
You
that.
don't have to mention it, you have to tell them,
Yes, okay.
you know? It's not right to impose it to us,
Okay.
okay? So also the road here, going down the hill, half of it
It's
is.
gonna get paid.
Huh?
If we have a contractor who's coming in September, October, he's gonna pay
To
it.
be paid.
Yeah.
Okay, and so also, you know, the TV station was broken,
Yeah, but
And-
got fixed.
yeah, luckily,
Yeah.
because we have maintenance people that you are not really paying for nothing.
Okay.
You know, you pay only the maintenance that are around, but you don't want to pay the maintenance that are taking care of the TV station.
Okay, thank you, Fanny. Michael.
Time to talk about ethics. Ethics reviews and investigations are essential tools for democracy. They reveal how the letter and spirit of the law is compromised, circumvented, or ignored. When they're avoided, we never get an open accounting of whether our governance process was intentionally abandoned and why, or whether the process needs to be revised and how. This is definitely true in the matter of Mr. Anello's hire. Many questions have risen, and they must be addressed publicly. It is also true with regard to the illegal dumping at 10 Church Street and the barriers that now exist to its remediation. It is undoubtedly true of the pattern of bully tactics applied through town instruments like committees, planning boards, the police, and the building department to selectively target some trades and businesses to comply with a noise law that was never adopted by the town. Much harm has been done in these last 3 years. Okay? Hundreds of thousands of dollars have been lost by our struggling townfolk. Businesses have closed. Jobs have been lost. Woodstock's reputation and future prospects for our main economic driver, tourism, based on our culture and performing arts, has been severely damaged. We require an accounting of what the hell happened here. In the meantime, we need to let our local businesses and the world know that we're open for business again. Woodstock's cultural trade needs to be fully restored. It needs to be expanded. Okay? Improved and expanded. And when we get around to the end of this little tirade here on ethics, this season is over half over. And we need the damn jobs, okay? We also need an investigation to reveal how the law was compromised, circumvented, or disregarded to reflect an unpassed noise law, and how to repair the very real harms inflicted on us by our town government. To be clear, we require an investigation if a board member is accused of using their office to coerce and intimidate police during a DWI traffic stop, and whether other board members have helped them with their legal problems in exchange for favors. We need an investigation when a board member is making spacious allegations against a political opponent to the press and the DA during an election. We need an investigation when a supervisor withholds critical information from the board about a new hire that they're trying to sneak through. In each of these cases, and a few others, a public accounting is most definitely required. Okay? Avoiding an ethics investigation, even if someone takes responsibility for their actions and resigns, is always a mistake. It's a lost opportunity to improve government going forward and give the taxpayers a reason to trust their damn government.
Thank you.
All right? These investigations are not to be used for grandstanding and political advantage either.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, they're for us.
Lily?
Well, that's hard to follow up with. I was actually gonna speak in support of the library, I do it towards well, having a small kid. It was amazing, so I really
Thank you.
was happy to see three of them.
I'm sure they'll be happy to have your support. Evan? Three minutes.
I'm Evan. I grew up in this area. I have a spot in the community garden here. And I hear that they're talking about development annually review. And that garden's been there for about 50 years. We brought in plants from all over the place. People have been working on that for a long time. And up and moving it to Simmons Court is not a practical thing for the garden. I actually was hoping that the town might be interested in expanding the garden. And I have spoken with other people in the community about volunteering to make that happen so that the town doesn't have to have any additional costs, but will benefit, the town will benefit from having possibly fruit trees, perennials, permaculture, and a beautiful place to go and pick herbs, vegetables, and fruits all year long. And it would be free. So, I think if we're gonna try to get people to come into the town, y'all want an Olympic swimming pool, I'm in favor of a garden. I'll volunteer a bunch of my time for that. Also, I want to talk about the safety of the streets. I was struck by a car on 375 the other night, and people are driving really crazy in this town. And I hear that Complete Streets are talking about designing it for all users, the drivers, the pedestrians and the bicyclists, and for people to respect the people that are on there. And for us to have proper signage or road markings or whatever need be done to make sure that everybody that comes to this town, including the local people, are all safe.
Thank you, Alvin. You should reach out for the Complete Streets next meeting. Okay, with that, move to go into executive session.
I wasn't here for public be heard, and I didn't know we had a clerk.
I'll give you 3 minutes, your last one.
Because I actually wanna revisit what we went through on Thursday, you want me to stand? Cause that was harsh on everyone, we had police presence here. I don't know how we will encapsulate those meetings for our public that will be due 2 weeks from Thursday. Right, because that's by law. And we had no one taking minutes, we actually had a clerk who acted in an insubordinate way. Abandoned her job to heckle the public, scream at the public, abuse our public. And not understand our handbook, the law. Misguide her staff who was crying. It was actually myself, talking with someone else here. To point out, it's 2.1.1 in our handbook, because we have a fox in the hen house that we must review every single employee now, from now on, and there should never be a question like, you should have to further investigate anyone, we should trust you. We should trust you. You are the two, so I'm really proud of my other 3 board members for not just taking a strong stance, but for the extra, for providing the transparency that we heard railed against just for the fact that we had press in the room. So actually, that was another illegal meeting from the beginning because of the timing of its post. So while we get to hear a lesson from someone whose top point on their resume is the number of years they've worked, I'd really love to see, as I've discussed before, I don't know how I appear here, but we have a lot of talks in our office that are easier for me to have. I don't like public. But I do look at that employee handbook. I always look for light. I always offer my services. I'm here for you guys. I'll revisit that. I'll make copies of that handbook, but please review it with the staff. Let's actually meet with your chairs. And we have a WEC. We have 2 WEC meetings, our environmental commission, where we got to hear Erin Moran lie about how much she's done. Warwack, and I will take double time because we didn't have public be heard. Our only public be heard was our clerk illegally, to be honest. And so out of order. Indeed, she asked for our police chief to remove me from our office. This is my office. This is our office. After she told me to sit down. Let's be honest. That was your job. That was horrifying.
That it?
We are trauma buddies in this room, and no one should feel like that. Everyone should feel welcome. We're talking about signage in WEC, actually, which should be discussed with CCD, but WEC minutes haven't been posted since 2024, and Jackie says she does not know that we've had a meeting, but we just had 2. She should know that because she was able to pull up the minutes, and then we had a debacle.
Thank you very much.
We're overdue. We had one secretary.
Motion to go into.
Which was your secretary doing the website, all the minutes, and now we have 3.
The housing committee.
We have.
All in favor?
We have
Aye.
3 quarters.
Aye.
I would say,
Secretary.
I
It's a
imagine
mess
the